Good morning. Welcome to the Lane County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. Good morning, Mr. Mokrajewski.
Good morning.
Council Bovet.
Good morning.
Do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
Not from staff.
Okay. Any emergency business?
No.
Seeing none, we will move on to county administration and the public hearing. We have Christine Moody coming to the table, and this is the public hearing on our approved budget for fiscal year 26-27.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, Chair Seneca, Commissioners. So I'll give a brief update, and then as you mentioned, we do have a public hearing, so I'll let you go through those steps. But a brief summary, the budget was approved by the Budget Committee on May 20th. And you have a packet in front of you that contains the budget items. They made a couple of adjustments to the proposed budget related to some changes that were in the Health and Human Services Department, some FTE overall decreasing by 2, appropriations, resources and requirements going up by $825,774. It was based on one area, family and child health having less revenue, that seeing a decrease, and then additional revenue coming in, some one-time revenue from the state related to housing and homelessness. So those are the changes there. The other thing I will highlight is they did also make a budget note related to TLT allocation. They requested that the allocations being made be limited to 2 years unless otherwise directed by the Board of Commissioners. So today's, after the public hearing, I will also ask the Commissioners if you would like any changes ahead of budget adoption, which is scheduled for June 23rd. But with that, I think we're ready for the public hearing. Okay. This is a public hearing to discuss the budget for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026, as approved by Lane County Budget Committee on May 20th, 2026. This public hearing is required to be held prior to final budget adoption under ORS 294453. Notice of this hearing and summary of the changes was published as required by ORS 294438 and detailed in the public hearing and board agenda item. Participants may testify for or against any item contained in the approved budget. You will have 3 minutes for public comment, and your time will start when you come to the podium and state your name. First up, we have Janet Ayers.
Good morning. I'm Janet Ayers, citizen of the city of Eugene and Lane County taxpayer. I'm here, thank you for the opportunity to speak to the budget. I did a little number crunching, adding the opportunity to speak to the budget. I did a little number crunching and dollar crunching. I was just curious if Oak Ridge Heather was able to clean up their sewage from dumping into the middle fork of the Willamette River. I'm hoping some money is provided to the woefully forgotten Oak Ridge to get that addressed so we don't have our good rivers polluted. I'm here to speak to the numbers. I did some number crunching with the budget and just being a little creative with those numbers to put the budget into a relativity with us common folks, the ones that you folks are representing. Lane County has over 302 employees that get at least $100,000 a year. 302 employees represent roughly 20% of the full-time workforce for Lane County. When you add that up, $100,000 times 302, that comes to $30,200,000, I think. If you were to shave their salaries half, I'm being creative, keep that in mind, but a little bit real. that $100,000 salary, not including the benefits package, because we know those are well endowed thanks to the compensation board, that equates to about $15 million. That's like 3 times over and above the $5 million deficit that we're currently in. That's like 3 times over and above the $5 million deficit that we're currently in. That's like 3 times over and above the $5 million deficit that we're currently in. That's like 3 times over and above the $5 million deficit that we're currently. But it's time the county administrators realize what belt tightening means to people on 1/10 of their salary that they receive courtesy of my tax dollars and so many others. Also, I'm questioning what happened to the RFID December that was passed, Mr. Mike Moshofsky, whatever. What happened to putting that current contract for the so-called navigation center? Why was that not put up to bid or opened up for others? Why don't we have a local person who understands the climate here locally instead of some carpetbagger coming in from Oklahoma and taking over? I think it's time that we allow
Time is up, Janet.
outside local be given a priority. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Ayers. Appreciate it. Next up, we have Samara Phelps.
Good morning. My name is Samara Phelps. I'm President and CEO of Travel Lane County, your destination organization, and a Springfield resident. I want to start by stating my deep respect for the work of this board, as well as the staff to serve all of Lane County. My job is to provide a visitor industry perspective to inform the decisions that impact the industry that generates over $1.1 billion in visitor spending each year. Today, I'm here to address the proposed use of the 2% transient lodging tax, TLT, established in 2022. TLT is designed to be invested in generating new dollars for our community through visitor spending. That visitor spending generates economic activity, supports local businesses, creates jobs in our rural and urban communities, and it sustains the TLT revenue and everything that fund funds. In 2022, the TLT was increased by 2% to generate economic activity through tourism facilities. At that time, the board clearly stated that those funds were to be used to fund, enhance, construct, and maintain tourism-related facilities here in Lane County. The amount and the language showed a commitment to the industry that generates and collects the tax. The stated purpose demonstrated a commitment to Lane County's economy. 2% was not a random number. 2% is what research at the time showed was needed to build a regional tourism facility. Hoteliers and industry supported the increase because it was dedicated to addressing that long identified need, setting the county on a path for the first time in decades to build a facility that generated visitor spending. Work is currently underway to create a once-in-a-generation investment in a facility that can transform our winter visitor economy, improve quality of life, and generate $20 million of annual spending in every year. I ask the board to honor the commitment and the intent of behind that 2% TLT increase and position Lane County to make a strategic investment that can deliver long-term economic returns, generating revenue for local businesses, residents, and for the county. Thank you for your service and for your consideration.
Thank you. Next up, we have Dana Terrell. Already on our way up.
Trying to be efficient with your time. My name is Dana Terrell, and I am a resident and business owner of Eugene. I am here to talk about the use of TLT towards public safety in the budget today, and I want to first say my appreciation to the Budget Committee for recommending that there be a time cap. I appreciate Commissioner Buck providing the language that TLT be revisited as far as its use in 2 years for using TLT for public safety. To me, that represented a commitment from yourselves and the other committee members to revisit the use of TLT for what it is intended for. And I just want to remind us that transient lodging tax is intended to generate more visitors, more tourism. Thereby, bringing in more visitors generates more taxes and generates more revenue for our local businesses. So not using it for that purpose is not using it for its intention. Since that meeting, I've been hearing a lot of comments, a lot of discussions around public trust. And that's starting with the task force that you put together, the Public Safety Task Force. In that co-chair letter that was in the front of the report, it talked about, in their words, bait and switch. And what they meant was you dedicating funding for a particular source and then using it for something else. And that's what this is. Their recommendation, and I think you may hear more of this tomorrow as you continue to hear from the task force, is that you build public trust so that when you go out for a long-term solution to anything, in this case, the public safety, the public is more ready to trust you to raise their taxes for the long term. But if your example is that you raise taxes for one purpose and they use it for something else, it is difficult for them to trust you on something that you need them to vote on, which is the increase in taxes that will be needed for long term. I want to give you a brief update that the investment that Lane County and Traveling County are making on what we're calling decision grade feasibility work towards an indoor sports facility is moving forward. That has been a commitment of $450,000, half from Lane County, half from Traveling County, towards this decision grade feasibility that would provide you with the information to know if this is an option you want to move forward. The RFP has been issued for a consultant, and the proposals are being reviewed right now. So that work is being moved forward. In the best of circumstances, when that work is done and that report is brought to you, you would have the option to be able to use TLT for its purpose, for your purpose as you dedicated it to, tourism infrastructure development. You would have the option to spend it on that. If you spend it on these other things, even though important, you will not have that option. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Brian Obie.
Morning, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning. I'm here obviously to speak about the TLT funding and the shift of dollars away from that. And I want to speak as loud and profound as I can. Shifting these dollars, Lane County shifting these dollars is in fact shifty. Shifty. And this administrator should be ashamed of himself to suggest that. I mean, this is about public trust. Dana made a great point, and that's what it's all about. The committee that you appointed, this committee clearly stated that the funds should not be considered. It stated clearly what should be considered. And I won't repeat those words, bait and trust. It's right here. It's all about bait and switch. And that's not how you build confidence in the future. Here's what the committee that you appointed, good people that are concerned about this county. They made these recommendations. Efficient prioritization and trust. That's number one thing to look at. Efficiency and prioritization and trust. Multi-layered solution was the second thing. Third thing was a payroll tax. That's happened in Eugene. It's happened in Springfield now. Where's Lane County? Where's Lane County relative to solving this? Is that too much? Is that too much to ask? Is that too hard to take that step for you to take that step? The third one was to form a special use district as a solution. There's no number 5. There's nothing that says shift TLT funds away. You know, out of our properties alone, the money that is in the fund right now, that is so rich for picking, Mr. Administrator. It's just easy. $500,000 of that fund has come from our properties alone, perhaps more. That was a conservative estimate I made this morning. Now, if I had to put two $10 bills on the table, would it be okay if you just take half of them and do what you want? Would that be okay? No, it's not okay. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about. It is about public trust. It is about, trust is an interesting word. I give you my trust. Only you can take it away. That's the way it is with the public. That's what it's all about. And that's what this is all about. You know, this cannot happen. Lane County, and you have a good reputation. Why destroy it? I give you my trust, and I really plead for you not to violate it. So I want to continue to support this county and support the issues that you bring forth.
Thank you for your public comment. Next up, we have John Crowder. That is all we have, Rio. Do we have anybody else signed up for budget? Okay.
John Crowder, I'm a resident of Santa Clara. In respect to the budget, I think since 2018, the budget had an item for a county auditor. And for some reason, it's put in the budget, but it's never filled. And I understand it's in the budget this year, so my encouragement, if it's in the budget, that you need to hire a auditor, and that auditor's responsibility is look over the shoulders of you folks and the administrators of the county to make sure things are being done. In the State of the Union that was put in January, it had three items: public safety, economic development, mental drug health issues. And I'm sure the budget includes addressing those issues, and I guess from my standpoint, maybe that auditor can kind of take on the responsibility of like a Doge and just kind of look to see where things are and not look over your shoulders to be a disciplinarian, but to be an encouragement that there's follow through. So thank you.
Okay, thank you for your public comment. Jessica, we'll check online.
Thank you, Chair. For those joining us virtually, if you would like to give public comment during this public hearing on our budget, please raise your virtual hand now. Chair, no hands are raised. Return it to you.
Okay, at this point, we will go back to staff for any additional comments.
No additional comments, thank you.
Okay, at this point, we will move to our work session, which is, well, I will close the public hearing, excuse me. And now we will move to our work session.
Thank you, Chair Seneca. So as I mentioned during initial comments, this would be the stage where I ask the board if you would like to see any changes to the approved budget when we bring back the adopted budget to you on June 23rd. At that time, you also are going to see some changes that staff put forward related to new information that's become available since they first developed their budget. Some of it will be technical in nature. If they've received additional funding or a reduction in funding, they'll make those adjustments as well. So you will see that information already coming forward on June 23rd, but this is the point that we typically ask the board if you would like any other changes.
Okay, to the board. Commissioner Farr.
Thank you. And thank you for the testimony this morning, everyone. Ms. Moody, a couple of questions for you regarding TLT and the appropriation of TLT for other purposes, which is recommended in this budget that we'll be considering on June 23rd. The reserves that have been generated through the 2% accrual of TLT paid for by the local hotels. Everybody knows, if everybody doesn't know that, that's how it's generated. That has been the current budget as we're looking at it, that we're considering right now, includes funding for public safety that is taken from the TLT. Can you explain that just a little bit?
Sure.
And I will tell you this, that I've spoken with you already this morning, and I think you're prepared for a motion that I may be prepared to make.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Farr, Chair Seneca. So I'm looking at a document that we actually gave to the Budget Committee that is available online that details what the TLT budget is included in the 26-27 budget. It details where we're continuing our ongoing revenue budget, talks about the 2% ongoing revenue, but you've specifically asked about reserves. So I'll just highlight that this is an estimated number because we're not done with this fiscal year yet and takes a little lag after the close of June, but we estimate just over $13 million will be in reserves by the end of this fiscal year. So the allocation of those funds, as noted under House Bill 4148, can be split up to 50% for non-tourism related items. Those items in the budget are patrol. There are 10 FTE, and we do have the sheriff here if you'd like more information on that, but there are 10 FTE in rural patrol that are funded with those dollars. You might remember the board also put some SRS, so we're doing a combination of TLT of about 1.98 million, the balance of that SRS funds, also assuming that we would keep funding that patrol for 27-28. So both of those coming out of the reserve. In addition, then whatever that balance of the 50% would be, which is estimated at about 6.5 million, would go to the courthouse complex project. Lane County is responsible for providing court facilities. We also, the board has heard a lot about the facilities of the district attorney and the sheriff's office, and so going forward with that design work in order to do that facility. So that's the 50%. Would you like me to also speak to, there's a little bit out of the tourism side, or were you mainly wanting just the non-tourism?
Just the non-tourism
Okay.
side for this purpose. Thank you, Ms. Moody. And as I mentioned to you, I take very seriously the testimony that we've heard this morning, and it's a continuation of testimony that we've heard prior to this. We had a debate at the Budget Committee meeting, and the motion that I am prepared to make at this point in time is just a clarification. We'll be considering the budget on June 23rd, is that correct?
Yes, we will adopt on June 23rd.
And at that point in time, we'll consider options that may deviate from what is recommended by the Budget Committee.
Yes, ideally, I would hear about those today, so that we can prepare the numbers in order for you, but yes, yeah.
Then my motion, should it be seconded and/or passed, would contain such instructions. My motion that I'm prepared to make is that we return all TRT reserves, TRT reserves to tourism-related purposes, and that the recommended budget be reallocated to other places. And so my motion is to bring that back on June 23rd as an option for us to consider as a Board of Commissioners, alongside the existent option, which is the recommendation of the Budget Committee. I kind of stumbled my words a bit there, Ms. Moody. Did I make that fairly clear?
Yeah, I can state it back. So I believe you said you want making a motion that you want an option that removes the TLT from non-tourism related items.
Exactly. And I will look for a second on that.
Can I ask a clarifying question? So this would be a motion to bring back an option on July 23rd that it removes the option of any of the current TLT funding for public safety. I'm guessing that you are requesting there'll be other funding proposed for public safety to keep it whole, per se, as it is presented in the budget now. Is that right?
That is a part of the motion, Commissioner. The other part of that motion would be, should there be no other funding available, then it would lapse, and it would be not put forward into the budget. And so my request is to look for other funding from existent reserves or whatever the option may be. And that be placed before the board on June 23rd as one of two options. One option would be to continue with the budget as recommended by the Budget Committee, or the second would be akin to my motion.
And I guess this is a question for the county administrator. Have we looked for other funding for public safety coverage other than the TLT money during the budget process?
Only for the last 2 decades.
Yes.
So I would just remind folks that, of course, we talk about this during our budget process every year. Lane County has one of the lowest permanent property tax rates in the state. And that is the reason that we're in the situation of having an underfunded public safety system. The sheriff is here, and he can articulate better than I can that we need about 75 more deputies than we have today just to get to the state average for sheriff's deputies for our population. So this proposal, and I appreciate the question, Commissioner, if you don't mind, I just wanted to note that, sorry, Chair, is that okay if I?
Oh, I was saying, please, yes.
Yes, okay. There was a reference to the Public Safety Funding Task Force. The board appointed a task force of 11 members that met for over a year. I think it was 14 months. And the group actually, I think it's counted, I counted about half a dozen times in the report. They specifically talk about transient lodging tax. They say, in terms of transient lodging tax, they reference that there need to be a legislative adjustment that would need to be made to allow for TLT to be eligible to be used for public safety, and they note how much funding that would provide. They specifically, when they asked for a multi-layered solution, because we were in all of these meetings, they specifically talked about before the county goes and asks for voters to approve new revenue, we're asking you to look at existing funds that you have that are not yet allocated. And they were specifically talking about transient lodging tax, and that's noted in the report. So that's why. And then, of course, the legislature in the short session approved legislation that allows for local jurisdictions to spend up to 50% of transient lodging tax on non-tourism related facilities. Why did the legislature do that? Because they understand that local governments, particularly governments like Lane County, that have an artificially low permanent property tax rate and cannot fund their basic services, need to have the flexibility to utilize various tools to be able to fund basic services. So I just wanted to provide the context for that. So the question you asked, Commissioner, was a simple one. I gave you a much longer answer than maybe you needed. But I wanted to hit this point home that there's a rationale. This was not a sort of flippant thing that was put forward. We've looked for decades for funding to shore up the sheriff's office. This funding will not shore up the sheriff's office, but it will allow us to maintain the existing rural patrols that are in place today. So your only other option would be to further deplete reserves in the general fund, which would likely take the reserves in the general fund below the 20% policy that the board has established. That's your financial policy that's based on the General Finance Officers Association recommendations for minimum reserves that you keep in place in the general fund, largely for cash flow and emergency purposes. So you can go below that, but that starts to put the county at greater risk.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, this is a very important decision, and I didn't know if our sheriff, who happens to be in the audience, wanted to speak about what this would do to our sheriff's department.
And a reminder, this is an unseconded motion still, so.
Good morning, Commissioners. Let me just say up front that I know this is a difficult conversation. I appreciate all the comments that have been made. And it's actually not my job to tell you how to fund the budget. It is my job to tell you what I need to do what we do, though. And I've had a commitment from all 5 of you that we will not take a reduction to patrol as we spend the next couple years trying to find a solution. If we did take this reduction, what it would mean is it's actually 12 positions that would be taken off the table: a West Lane district deputy, a McKenzie district deputy, 2 detectives, and patrol. That means that our one and only dedicated property crimes detective would no longer exist. It means that our forensics detective, who just absolutely works his butt off to protect children from online predators, would be off the table. And it likely would mean that we would no longer be able to have a 3-deputy. That's 3 deputies as our minimum staffing to patrol the county. My options then would be to reduce that minimum staffing, which is already at an unrealistic, dangerous level, or to go back to the period of having a dark period where we don't actually have 24-hour coverage. So these are the options we're looking at. Those are the decisions I would have to make if we take these positions off the table. I agree with what the county administrator's already said, and I understand the comments this morning, but that task force report also said, you know, put your money where your mouth is, show us that you're going to prioritize public safety, show us that you're not going to do reductions, then we're going to consider what we may be willing to give you in the future. So those are my comments. I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Sheriff. Back to you, Vice Chair.
Thank you. So this is easily the most controversial portion of our budget. And honestly, in past years, we don't necessarily have this kind of level of concern about passing the budget. I'm going to second the motion specifically because I want to have the conversation about reserves. I am dedicated to the commitment of ensuring that the Sheriff's Office does not see further reductions. How we do that, I think, is worth having a conversation. Whether it be the TLT money, whether it be a conversation about what it would do or where it would impact reserves. I think that's a very important conversation for us to have at our June 23rd meeting. Doesn't mean that that's exactly how we're going to vote. But I am willing to have that conversation, just so I know exactly in the layout of our available funding, what it would impact, including where we are with reserves, because I'm not entirely sure where we are with reserves. You had mentioned that it could dip us below what we need to have, but I don't know how much that is, dollars-wise, and the full impact. So that's the reason I'll second the motion, but I want to make it very clear that I will stand by my commitment to ensuring the Sheriff's Office in our final budget approval stays whole.
Okay, so we have a motion made and seconded, it sounds like. Discussion. Commissioner Farr.
To the motion, thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Mokoraisi, what you said about decades, that wasn't glib at all, that was factual. And in fact, before I've been here longer than any county commissioner and anybody sitting there except for Carl and Christine. It was before I got here that we defunded public safety. A previous Board of Commissioners got into some serious trouble for defunding public safety, and we're living through that today. There is no one who understates or believes that anything is untrue that the sheriff is saying. In fact, I think the sheriff's being kind of mild about it. What he doesn't point to is if you're having a crime in progress outside of Pleasant Hill and you call the sheriff's department, you probably aren't going to get a response. Everybody knows that. And not just crimes in progress, but violent crimes and rural patrol is not critical. It's not a crisis. It's an emergency that we're in. And there's nobody that disagrees with that. So a part of the discussion here is how do we fund public safety? And we have a discussion tomorrow regarding that. It's an ongoing discussion that we will not stop having. And my motion was to recognize the sanctity of TLT and the reason that we put it in place in the first place. So, thank you.
Commissioner Lovell.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, this is a delicate topic. Yeah, Mr. Mokoraisi, when you said 2 decades looking at, I must admit I was a little offended by that. And I think that, you know, if we spend 2 decades looking, we maybe should have found a solution by now without having to be at this juncture. So I'm a little put off by that comment, so I just want to let you know about that. The task force, although they cited that TLT reserves could be used in the brochure, they didn't recommend that. So I want the public to know that in the brochure they didn't recommend that approach. I do agree that transparency and trust is paramount for the public officials to be in the face of their constituents, and I'm concerned about that. But I'm equally concerned with defunding or losing any traction or status with our sheriff's department. So when you said that Mr. Mokoraisi, you said that the reserves are set aside for emergency, I would consider this an emergency. I would consider this a wise use of our reserves. We have a public task force and a work session tomorrow that we're going to start talking about again and hopefully finding firm solutions going forward. But I think this warrants a reserve dip for the funds to keep the sheriff's office whole. I think our beloved sheriff has been working on threads and needles and pins and needles for too long, and he needs a plan going forward and a vision. So I'd like to commit my vision and my plan to that, and I think this is a move that the reserves should take on and give us time to find a permanent solution. I also think that the trust is equally weighted, that Mr. Obie had said that, he gives trust to us as officials, and we need to keep earning that trust. So I think it's a worthwhile motion that Commissioner Forrest put forward, and I support it. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Commissioner Trieger.
Thank you. I'm going to hopefully actually speak to the motion and then perhaps call the question, because we'll have more of this, the conversation we've been having here is what we'll have on the 23rd should this motion pass. But to the point that to replace what the current budget is proposing for this public safety system funding to come from transient lodging tax would require dipping into reserves. That amount would put us below the board's adopted policy on reserves. And so could we actually make such a decision without first having to visit our reserves policy?
Thank you, Commissioner Trieger, Chair Seneca. So I think the statement was it could. So I think we need to come back to you with information. Again, this is a 2-year plan. So it's looking out over 2 years of budget. So we'd want to come back to you with those numbers and can show you for sure what it would do to your reserve. Yeah. And it is board policy, maybe to go further to answer your question. So it is board policy. So you can change, we've had times when we've had to barely dip below it. You do also, and I will bring the language for you, you do already have in your policy when it's appropriate to dip into reserves and some kind of metrics that you set for yourself that you would look at in the event that you dipped into reserves and the plans then to replenish and all of that conversation.
Thank you. So procedurally, were it to be determined that this would in fact have us dip below established policy, you would bring us what would be the mechanism for essentially going against our own policy? Correct. Or we may have to revisit that policy before we could even approve such a change to the proposed budget.
Correct. I'll bring that language to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not in support of this motion. This budget was developed over many, many months, input from every department head, our budget committee. This has been discussed. There is no change to our support for the industry or the destination marketing funding through the grant that we hold with Travel Lane County. And I'm not willing to throw away or frankly disrespect the months of work that have gone into crafting this budget under the pressure of some public testimony during this hearing. I stand firm on this decision. I stand firm on our commitment to our public safety system, to our good stewardship of public funds that are collected in a number of ways to deliver services that are for the public good. And there is no specific project that has been named that this is taking away from, but if we don't spend this money, we are, in my opinion, I think being derelict in our duty to address critical public needs around public safety. So I do not support the motion. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Absolutely. Commissioner Farr.
Just one last item, and this is directed to you, Ms. Murkowski. Since you came on board, one thing that you have focused on is public safety, and by and large, it was under your leadership and under your guidance that we put out the initial jail levy and passed it, and we keep passing it, and we keep passing it. Without that, we'd be in dire straits. We need far more. We'll have further that conversation tomorrow, and you have that report in hand, comprehensive report by good citizens who we appointed that needs to be taken very, very seriously. And I can assure you that there's nobody sitting at this dais who does not take that report very, very seriously, and the future of public safety very, very seriously in Lane County.
Well, and I'll just say that, at this point, I'll support this motion because I think it's worth taking another look at. You've gotten the word that public safety will not suffer, so I feel much better about that. If that's it, go ahead, please.
Sure.
Absolutely.
There's nothing that prevents us from having a conversation about reserves and use of reserves. We've already heard that this budget as presented does not actually make our public safety system anywhere near whole. There's actually a need for more than what we're doing. So in fact, we could, and I'm looking to the maker of the motion, we could, instead of considering this particular proposal and pitting our public safety system against our industry partners, we could instead say, we're supporting the budget as presented through all of the work, and we would like to have a work session on reserves, use of reserves, possible other options for further enhancing our public safety system. Reserves are one-time funds, so that's not the long-range solution either, as we all know. So I just want to throw that out there. If this is about whether we're using reserves, whether we're letting public safety services languish while we're sitting on reserves, that is its own contained conversation that I would be happy to support a motion to advance that particular conversation, just to be clear. So I'll just put that out there. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
And thank you, Commissioner Trieger. My motion stands as stated. And the reason is this is an opportunity to highlight even more brightly the need in public safety. And the discussion that, should this motion pass, the discussion that will happen between now and June 23rd will be very important. It will be very highly participated in, and it really will, Sheriff, it will give us an opportunity to really highlight the things that we're not doing that you wish we could do as a Sheriff's Department. And I'm looking at Captain Riley in the back of the room, the former jail commander. Across the board in public safety, we are derelict.
Okay, if that's it, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1 with Commissioner Trieger and nay. Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, next up, we have employee recognition. Mr. Mokrzycki?
Thank you, Chair. Well, we're going to recognize someone who's done some incredible work for our public safety system. I want to invite Allie Knapp up here, along with Greg Rickoff, I think Mike Finch, and maybe Clint Riley. We're going to join.
Let's get the whole team up here.
Whole
right?
team. I welcome our friends from Traveling County to stay and hear this one, too. This is a good one.
Commissioners, if I may, I'm going to go take a seat. The room is full of supporters of Allie this morning, so I was going to cede my time to Clint and Kracia. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Greg. So, Commissioners, Allie Knapp is with our Technology Services Department, and she's played a critical role in developing both public and internal data dashboards for the Lane County Behavioral Health Deflection Program. I think we're going to try to bring up, are we going to do that? Can we bring up the dashboard? Here it is. Okay. So you can look at this while we're talking. This is one of Allie's wonderful creations. We're not going to show you the parole and probation dashboard because I think it may have some protected criminal justice information system data on it, but this is the dashboard that was created for our deflection program. She collaborated with external partners to collect and integrate their data and design new informative pages that are both user-friendly and easy to interpret. Allie consistently checks in with the team to ensure the dashboards meet their needs and actively identifies opportunities to enhance how the data is presented. These dashboards increase transparency by informing the public about program outcomes and key statistics, while also providing partners with a quick and accessible way to retrieve data as needed. They also support partners in seeking alternative funding and ensuring that we have reliable data to guide evidence-based practices, reflecting Allie's strong commitment to thoughtful solutions and public service. Allie has also been instrumental in developing comprehensive dashboards for parole and probation across multiple operational areas. Consistently demonstrates the ability to create, refine, and troubleshoot dashboards and transform raw data into meaningful, accessible information for the state, community partners, and the public. Her work also provides officers with valuable tools to audit and manage their caseloads and has supported leadership in guiding departmental decisions about strengths, trends, and areas for improvement. I want to pause just for a moment to say, you know, we talked just a minute ago about the challenges with funding for our public safety system. It's not only the sheriff's office that is underfunded because of our artificially low permanent property tax rate. It's the district attorney's office. It's our parole and probation team. It's our youth services. The entire public safety system that Lane County is responsible for providing services is underfunded. One of the bright spots in all of this work, I should say two of the bright spots. One is the collaboration that happens between all of these public safety agencies. The scarcity of resources has created this sense of collaboration and support. Allie's work is an extension of that. And the deflection program specifically, while very small, and there's a small amount of funding that we get from the state to do this work, it's an example of the type of innovation that we have created through the scarcity of resources that we have for our public safety system. To identify solutions, we don't have the resources to even fund the sheriff's office adequately, fund the DA's office adequately, fund our parole and probation office adequately, which is why we have to look at resources that we wouldn't necessarily otherwise look at if we had a funding that was available in other places. But these are the critical foundational services that we provide to keep our communities safe. And so this work that Allie has done is an extension of the innovation and the creativity and the collaboration from our public safety system. Because of her high quality work, the Department of Corrections frequently looks to Lane County and specifically to the dashboards she has built as a model when developing their own tools, often seeking her direct collaboration. Last month, Allie received a Community Corrections Outstanding Service Award at the Oregon Department of Corrections statewide award ceremony for her work. According to the state, this is a quote, Allie's deep technical expertise, problem-solving ability, and generous knowledge sharing were foundational to the success of the Power BI dashboard and reporting platform, significantly enhancing data transparency and usability. Without these dashboards, we would not have the same level of data extraction, accuracy, or meaningful application of information that informs our decision-making today. Allie is extremely knowledgeable, adaptable, and consistently responsive to emerging needs. She prioritizes the work effectively and pivots quickly as circumstances change. Her contributions are truly invaluable. And I want to I'm so happy that we have the opportunity to celebrate a piece of our public safety system after the criticisms for trying to adequately fund our public safety system. It's great to be able to lift up the incredible work that is happening here with the limited resources that we have available to be able to provide these services. The creativity, the innovation by people like Allie and our public safety partners is really incredible. So we're recognizing her because of this award from the Department of Corrections. And for you all know in Lane County, we hold up our core behaviors, the way in which our employees behave with a passion to serve, a drive to connect, and a focus on solutions. This is what we hire for. This is what we promote for. This is what we evaluate performance based on, and Allie's demonstrated these, particularly the focus on solutions and the passion to serve. So we'll just take a minute, and I don't know if, Clint, do you want to maybe take this and walk through the dashboard? Clint, you all know Clint Riley, former captain in the sheriff's office, who's now running our deflection program, and then I'll pass it over to Clint and to Cretia to make any additional comments.
Thank you, Stu. Morning, Commissioner Senega and the board. Thanks for having us here this morning. So yeah, I think you're all fairly familiar with the dashboard that we have out there. So just quickly going over it, we've had 483 folks that have been deflected since we launched our program in October of 2024. Two pieces I really like to highlight when we go through this are the currently in the program and successfully completed. That right there is almost 160 people that are not frequent users in all of our systems we have right now, which is the ER, our law enforcement, and our county jail. So those folks are engaged in treatment or they're in recovery. So that piece right there is just amazing. And as you look through this, what we really wanted to create here, this wasn't part of House Bill 4002. Most of the data you see here today comes from the DA's office. It comes out of police reports. And what we are required to do with the House bill was report data to the state through a system called REDCap. We were lucky enough to have our TS partners here in their leadership support Allie working with us on this program to get local data to be able to evaluate what we're doing here and if it's working or not, and share this data back with law enforcement and be transparent to our community, showing how we're applying deflection equitably and all the law enforcement agencies that are using it. And I know we love acronyms, and you look at all those, but that's like Eugene Police, Springfield Police. But that usage really represents the size of the agency in our community. The sheriff's office, which I spent almost 29 years of my life in, they don't deflect as many people because they don't have as many deputies out there responding to calls to be able to deflect those kind of calls. Otherwise, their numbers would probably be up there with Eugene and Springfield. But what you guys talked about this morning is just another representation of that. But this is great just to show the public what we're doing and then to also use the data to improve our service delivery. And I want to thank Allie for all the work she did. Allie did some projects with me when I was working at the jail. Everything she does is amazing. And so I just can't say enough good stuff about that. And I'll turn it over to Gracia.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for taking the time. My name is Gracia Brunsman. I'm the manager at Parole and Probation. But taking the time to have a public forum to acknowledge Allie. I say it to her almost every conversation I have with her, to thank her for the work that she does. We can't have our dashboards up here because there is protected data on them, and so we aren't able to show them. But we have multiple dashboards that Allie has created that have made my life personally so much easier, because the ability to collect the data to be able to tell the story, right? That's always the question. What's the story? How is this working? And manually having to do that has been nearly impossible previously. And so these dashboards that are created by Allie, who finds solutions, she does find solutions. When I've asked, hey, we need a dashboard to collect this data, she finds a way to get it done, has been invaluable. So I could say it to you all, but I want to take the time in this public forum to, again, thank you so much. You are just a dedicated worker. You are what I think Lane County looks for. And so I really appreciate the work that you do. So thank you for your time.
Can I say one more thing, Stu?
Go for it.
I was at
Yes, the chair, not me.
Sorry. Chair Sendiga, can I say one more thing?
Of course.
I was at a national conference last year with Greg Rickoff. Our dashboard was presented there during a breakout session. This gets national recognition right now for how to use it, how it displays the information, how easy it flows. And I get phone calls all the time asking, I don't know how Allie built it. I use it because it's amazing, but this right here is just another example of when people see this across the nation, they talk about it.
Yeah, we want to talk about trust in government. This is an example, I think, of that the transparency of the information and the type of work that is happening here to improve lives in our community. That's our purpose in Lane County, to improve lives. And Allie and our public safety team are an example of doing that. So thank you so much. And Chair, turn it over to you.
Yeah. Director Finch, I saw you there. Did you have something to add, or were you just going to run the computer? Do TS stuff? Okay, just wanted to make sure. To the board. Commissioner Lovell.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, Allie, I know you're just eating this up, right? You're like going to crawl under a rock based on your facial expressions. Well, again, you wouldn't be here unless you didn't deserve it. I just want to say hats off to all of those folks within the county, including you and the Department of the Justice Department, for making those numbers and those sacrifices to improve lives. That data shows that there's a big team that's doing that. This is our county and our mission statement, and I appreciate you doing that to the best of your ability. Putting numbers in an understandable way is a gift. I don't know if you'd realize that. For a lot of us that are visually oriented, that's a help to all of us. So I want to thank you just from personally putting those numbers into visual, because I'm a visual thinking person, and to me it helps me understand what's going on rather than just Excel sheets. I hate Excel sheets. So thank you for not being an expert in Excel. There's an old friend of mine in Africa that told me there's 3 key areas to continuing momentum of a good work. And those 3 things are transportation, accommodation, and communication. And so I want to thank you for being that third leg of that 3-legged stool that keeps this momentum and this good work going. And that's being an awesome communicator of the data that we need to understand. So thank you.
Commissioner Farr.
Thank you. There's been a move recently to begin using dashboards for exactly what Commissioner Lovell said, to put it in terms that lay people understand. Because the question's always been, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing anything about fill in the blank? And if you don't have a way to communicate that, then people will continue thinking you're not doing anything about it. Ali, you're demonstrating that we are doing something about it. And the numbers clearly show it. And, you know, and anybody online can look at the dashboard. It's easy to understand. There's information on there that is private, that's not on the public dashboard. But the public dashboard is, as Commissioner Lovell said, even I can understand it, you know, and it's fantastic. So it's designed to let people know that we are doing something. But more significantly, what it does, Captain Riley, is that it gives people a reason to support the system, because they are seeing progress, they are seeing things happen, and therefore we'll get the public support, the public trust in what it is that we are doing. So thank you to everyone sitting here, but especially thank you to you, Ali, for making it understandable to me.
Commissioner Trigger?
Sure, I know we're
Yeah.
getting up against time here, but I mean, I think everybody here knows how much I support the deflection program, how important I think it is, how much I recognize it's really changing lives. And so I just want to appreciate you and acknowledge that sometimes it's, you know, it's the navigators, it's the frontline service delivery people that are like the face of the program. And that really, your work and allowing us some time to get inside it and share it with the public shows that it really takes all kinds of work, seen and unseen, to make a program like this work. And so the work you're doing is part of what is impacting the lives of the people who are in the program. It's not separate from that at all, even though you're not the one sort of physically present with the person who's participating in the program. You're part, I mean, we talk about systems all the time. A program is a system too, and you are as integral and as important a part of that system, which means you are as much a part of helping to improve the lives of the people who go through that program, as are the navigators and the direct service providers. So thank you for that.
Vice Chair.
Allie, you're a rock star. We love seeing rock stars come up and honoring you. So I so appreciate what you do. I know a lot of people in our community probably didn't even know that you worked on this or know that this is something that we provide publicly to the community. But it is important in a number of ways, as my colleagues have already described. So I just want to thank you very much for working at Lane County and putting all your effort into this very unique skill that provides wonderful information to the community.
Yes, and I will just second everything that's said. It's greatly appreciated, and, you know, to put stuff in to put complicated stuff in such a simple way while you're bragging about our deflection program and all these other programs is truly a skill. It was said earlier, and so just thank you for everything you do, and you're appreciated. Thank you.
Commissioners.
Okay. Okay, next up, we have our normal public comments, and sorry for the delay, everybody. Speakers will be taken in the order in which they sign up and will be limited to 3 minutes. Your time will start when you come up here to the podium and state your name. Thank you, Rio. First up, we have Joshua Keelis with Mary Leone following.
Hi, Joshua Keelis from the River Road neighborhood. The recently released Lane County Public Works report on local access roads lacks acknowledgement of the human cost of the issue and of the responsibility of Lane County to make things right. The truth is that historic actions made by Lane County have created a situation that puts hundreds of county residents in an incredibly awkward and untenable position. They live on a public road, pay the same amount in taxes as everyone else, but for some indeterminate historical reason, are responsible for paying road maintenance costs out of pocket. Almost all current law adjacent homeowners bought their homes with no knowledge of this responsibility because Lane County failed to make sure that they understood. And now, after directing the Public Works Department to do a study, you've ended up with only an inflated worst-case scenario of costs, with the recommendation that instead of righting this historical mistake, you should double down on avoidance by making the acceptance process more onerous, difficult, and expensive for afflicted residents. This is more of that same logic that got us into this position in the first place. We can do better than this. Please request that Public Works also determine the least expensive way to solve this problem without bankrupting homeowners in the process. Give them a mandate to consider that mass adoption of LARs might actually happen, and that they should be willing to think outside of the code book if necessary to find a pragmatic solution. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the public comment. Next up, we have Mary. Following will be Laura Shu.
Thank you for all your thoughtfulness on these issues. I really appreciate it. You really put your hearts and minds into things, and that's great. I have the other LAR issue for you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Public Works was asked to compile a report to the council on how and how soon the LARs in the UGB could be taken into the maintenance system. Public Works staff had already expressed that they will never accept these roads. So the report you are receiving, rather than being a step-by-step answer to and consideration of the basic requirements, is designed to present an impassable barrier to acceptance. The report should state this is what would be minimally required. 1, right-of-way surveys. 2, road condition surveys so they can be fitted into the maintenance schedule. Road description. 3, road description additions or amendments for the state records. Since I'm not a professional planner, this process is rather like asking foxes to design a hen house. We can't rely on these figures as bare minimums for absorbing the 13 miles of public roads into a 1,200-plus mile system, barely 1% of the total. However, if I want to snow you with numbers, I'll give you tables and cost breakdowns to the single dollar, even though all of this is a complete fabrication. If Public Works was told to accept these roads using their existing budget, you and I know there would be exceptions and exemptions and shortcuts made immediately. Using Howard Avenue as an example, the city recently took ownership of a road much degraded by the removal of incorrectly placed striping. There are no curbs, gutters, drains, or sidewalks. The roadbed is now in much worse condition than before the Safe Routes to Schools project was implemented. The city is obviously less concerned with road amendments than this report states. Finally, the additional 102 roads could be added to the system in lots of 34 per year. Many are extensions of roads already included with legal descriptions in place. Some are 1 block long. Some connect 2 sections of existing maintained roads. All are used by the public. All need ongoing maintenance for safety, and most residents are completely unaware of their current responsibilities. According to Public Works leadership at the latest TRAC meeting, it could be 100 years before the city of Eugene actually takes ownership of these UGB roads. The city's 2026 urban standards are being applied unreasonably in this report. Please do the right thing now, correct this long injustice, direct Public Works to accept these roads into the county maintenance system within 3 years using the least amount of money and staff time possible. Let's have no more lengthy and obfuscating reports to justify class-based and historical exclusion of some roads. It is only fair. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Laura Shu with Janet Ayers following.
Good morning. I was in the corporate world for 20 years, and I drank the Kool-Aid. I truly believed that the programs we developed were in the public interest. But after I left, I realized that there were assumptions that we never questioned, and that those unfairly harmed a ton of people. I think Public Works staff is in a similar situation with LARs. They aren't bad people. They don't have bad intentions, but they've grown up in a system that treats these roads as fundamentally different and undeserving without asking whether that assumption or the outcome is fair. They believe they've given you a neutral report, but it's one that maximizes costs and burdens on homeowners and minimizes county responsibility, and they've ignored the main goal of achieving fairness. Public Works made a fair point considering whether LARs should be reconstructed to current standards at a cost of $90 million. But why didn't they also tell you that county roads a block away are unimproved and they have no plans of reconstructing those? Why didn't they also tell you that the city has annexed many unimproved roads in the area, including Howard Avenue last year? Why didn't they tell you that the lane manual acceptance process for new roads is not set in stone, is intended for developers building new roads, and would create insurmountable barriers for homeowners? Or why didn't they tell you that county roads have some of the same issues, like right-of-way encroachments, and the county maintains them anyway? Why didn't they tell you that lane manual, as best as I could tell, offers no policies on how to fix longstanding inequity, and that this situation might require an out-of-the-box approach? Send this back to the drawing board, but not with the same question. Ask Public Works to center equity and find the most expedient, cost-effective way for the county to provide equal services to residents who have been paying for them all along. It takes strong leadership to challenge groupthink inside organizations. That's what we need from each of you. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Next up, we have Janet Ayers with David Eigel following.
Hello again. I'm unclear. Is this part of the public hearing limited only to Lars, or is it a broader?
Nope, this is public comment, any public comment.
Okay, getting back to the budget, it's all about the dollars. I've been sitting, listening, and some of the things that I've discovered are that Lane County has one of the higher poverty rates, higher nationally and statewide, that number being 15%. I'm hoping that budget will take a serious look at some of these higher paid individuals. 302 employees of Lane County receiving well over $100,000 a year, which when you break that down totally as a piece amounts to, as I indicated earlier, $30,200,000. And it appears to me in hearing the testimony and listening to the county on numbers, we're into millions. And I'd like to remind the commissioners that governance, the main priority, if not the only priority, is public safety, which we're sorely in need of, and infrastructure, which, as Lars has pointed out, the folks that are being harmed dramatically so by the same governance that's supposed to maintain infrastructure. So I'm hoping that what little I'm saying right now is really taken to heart, that all these other programs and semblances of governance are not as germane to your jobs as assuring the public safety and infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. Next up, we have David Eigel with John Crowder following.
Good morning, David Eigel. No documented report exists that supports the Eugene was a sundown town fable. Talisha Brown is a manipulative deceiver who has conned local individuals and groups into believing that the North Bank residents were living there because of their race. The authentic reason they were living there was because of an extreme housing shortage. About a third of the residents were white. Even if Eugene was a sundown town, and it wasn't, something other than race had to have caused these white residents to live there. The county has helped promote falsehoods. Lane County commissioners have wasted over $30,000 of county funds, encouraged the misuse of $300,000 in donations for a memorial to remember events in history that never occurred. No action was taken to correct the historical record in response to my documenting and exposing the memorial hoax in 2024. In the 1950s, McCarthyites yelled, "Commie, commie." Today, some McCarthyite types yell, "Racist, racist." Some Oregon communities were, but Eugene never was a sundown town. At the Mims House event, Commissioner Trigger called out that we must reflect and atone for events in history that never occurred. Why should we do this? My exposing to all the county commissioners Trigger's race-baiting comments at the Alton Baker Park celebration, where she stated she was Jewish and therefore was supportive of the interests of the overwhelmingly black audience, resulted in Trigger threatening me with being silenced and arrested by Lane County security personnel at a public commissioners meeting. Commissioner Buck defamed me by accusing me of being a white supremacist and a white nationalist. As a citizen who has donated a great deal of time and effort to debunk false narratives about our history, I do not think I deserve to be retaliated against because I spoke the truth. I've asked for but not received apologies from Commissioners Trigger and Buck. Mistakes were made in Lane County's support and funding of the North Bank Memorial. A false narrative that lacked primary source documentation was promoted. President Eisenhower told Vice President Nixon that the president will inevitably screw up and that when this happens, the best thing to do is admit this publicly. As president, Nixon didn't take his advice. It didn't end well. Unless you take responsibility for this screw-up, it's not going to end well. The public deserves the truth. Please take action.
Thank you for your public comment. Next up, we have John Crowder with Linda Lovick following.
Greetings again. My response to the proceedings of last Tuesday's meeting. Commissioner Farr comment and greatly appreciated articulating the situation in detail and expressing his passion to solve the homeless situation as it pertains to River Road. Yes, the pipeline has a drop-off point in Lane County. Salem allowed Oregon to be a drug-friendly state, resulting in the issues revolving around the navigation center. When I heard there was a 3-2 vote in favor of keeping the navigation center open for another year, I was shocked, and the process exhibited incompetence. Last July, you folks agreed to keep the navigation center open another year, with an understanding that a process of evaluation would take place determining NC's future. Evidently, that process did not happen. Last week, Commissioner Lovell indicated that on December 9th, there was a directive to County Administrator Murkowski to bring back a discussion for the RFP. According to the county attorney, the county by state statute regulations, any contract over $250,000 required an RFP. My question is, what prevented the county administrator from not putting the NC contract up for bid with an RFP as he was directed to on December 9th? Hence, we have another 12 months with the NC bringing corruption to River Road. There lies the incompetence, no follow-through, no accountability. Is that standard operating procedure for county government? I hope not. Now, the county has 11 months to develop an RFP. County staff mentioned that they would look at the current metrics to determine an RFP. You need to also look at the metrics from the public side, ensuring that most important function of the county is the safety of students, commercial businesses, and the 7,000 residents. Right now, safety is not your priority, and it should be. Instead, your priority with no barrier facility is to encourage the pipeline to engulf River Road with non-residents with most likely criminal records. It is like a cancer. Unless it is stopped, it will keep on growing and growing. Maybe if the NC facility was next to either South Eugene, Sheldon, Churchill, or Willamette High Schools, this would have been dealt with last year. It was not. The ball is in your court. You folks created the problem by placing the NC in residential community. You need to fix it, and I know you can. Start by doing away with the no barrier entry mentality. Save River Road from further being engulfed with a drug-infested culture. River Road is a great community, and it deserves better. Thank you.
Thank you for your public comment. Next up, we have Linda Lovick, followed by Dana Terrell.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Linda Lovick, and I live in River Road neighborhood on a local access road. Obviously, your issues are enormous and your responsibilities are considerable. And I appreciate all of you, and I also appreciate the report on LARs being made available publicly from the Public Works Department. And I want to speak with you this morning a little bit about that and add to the comments and the public remarks of my colleagues, who I believe spoke eloquently. I feel the report gives just a dizzying complexity of the situation, the statutes, the policies, the plans, the costs for your consideration in accepting the 13 subject miles of LARs in Lane County. According to that, or adding to that, the stranglehold between the county and the city regarding the 12 miles within the urban growth boundaries, which all paints a daunting picture. What the report does not provide you is the history of why certain public roads were left out of the county road system now decades ago to become these orphaned local access roads. Wouldn't that information help to inform the way forward? Several of us homeowners in River Road neighborhood have testified before you frequently since learning of the orphan status of the public roads we live on over the past year and a half. By now, you know well the absolute unfairness of some homeowners in Lane County being saddled with repairing the street they live on and further being liable for uninsurable public harms. You may recall that we have canvassed extensively in the affected areas, and 95% of people we talk to feel very strongly that Lane County should accept the LARs in the urban growth boundary into the county road system. The report mentions that in 2020, the county established recording requirements so that homebuyers would be informed. But without enforcement, many were just as unknowing as neighbors who had lived on their LAR for 60 or 70 years without knowing the status of their public street. Please remember that our request to accept the LARs as is requires no monies now, nothing from the road funds now. You know, at the bottom line is it just isn't right that inaction from the county decades ago or inconsistent application of procedures should result in the financial crisis that would come to homeowners now. It just isn't fair. It just isn't right. Thank you.
Thank you. Last up, we have Dana Terrell.
Hello, for the record, I am Dana Terrell. I'm a resident and business owner in Eugene. I want to thank Administrator Moger-Heisky for encouraging us to stay and hear the presentation and celebration of Ally and the deflection program. I'm truly glad I stayed. And I just want to say thank you for such a great program. I also very much believe in it. And I think that the work that Ally has done on the dashboard is exceptional. So thank you.
Thank you for the employee recognition, Dana Terrell. Okay, if that's it. Jessica, we still have nobody online. Then we will
That's correct, Chair.
Okay, we'll move forward with the consent calendar. All items listed here are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent calendar and will be considered separately.
Chair, I'll move approval of the consent calendar for June 9th, 2026.
Second.
We have a motion made by Vice Chair to approve the consent calendar for June 9th, 2026, seconded by Commissioner Lovell. All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Okay, next up, we have Johnny on the spot. Mary Wuxick Schaefer, please take it away.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Chair Seneca, Vice Chair Buck, and Commissioners. It's ironic to think that the assessor is going to bring some levity to the morning, but I'm going to do my best here. For the record, my name is Mary Wuxick Schaefer. I'm the Assessment and Taxation Director. I'm presenting our proposed assessment and taxation fees, new fees for subdivisions, partitions, condominiums, middle housing, and property merges and consolidations, along with annual CPI-U West adjustments to existing fees. I'll begin with our current workload and then outline the proposed fee structure, estimated revenues, and comparisons with other counties. For fiscal year 25-26, our office has completed 91 plats, which includes subdivisions, partitions, condominiums, and middle housing. And we've completed 82 tax lot merges and consolidations. Currently, there's no fee for these services. And these services directly are to the benefit of the 85 taxing districts I serve. These volumes reflect a steady workload in land development and property reconfiguration. So the proposed fees for subdivisions, partitions, condominiums, and middle housing is the following: a setup fee of $250 and a $50 per tax lot fee. Based on current activity levels, this fee structure would generate an estimated $27,300 annually. And for merges and consolidations, based on our current workload, the setup fee would be $125 and the per tax lot fee would be $25, which would be an estimated revenue of $12,300. And then additionally, I'm proposing an annual CPIU West adjustment effective July 1st of each year for existing fees. With the exception of fees limited by statute and veteran exemption, senior deferral, and active military duty applications. Those would be exempted from that CPIU West adjustment. For 26-27, this CPI adjustment is estimated to generate $909 for a total estimated revenue for all proposed changes of $40,500 annually. And then next, I want to talk about some county comparisons. To ensure our fees remain reasonable and aligned with state practices, we reviewed fees from other Oregon counties. So we looked at Benton, Jackson, Clatsop, Washington, Klamath, and Curry counties. They have a range of setup fee for between $135 and $262. And this is, if you look at the counties that charge more for this setup, with the exception of Benton County, that's an outlier, they have a permanent rate of $2, just over $2. So counties that charge a little bit more are counties that have a permanent rate of less than $2. And I call that out because Curry County, which has a permanent rate of 60 cents per thousand, they also have a setup fee of $200 and a $10 per tax lot fee. So we're also looking at merges and consolidations. There's a range of $131 to about $35 for the setup fee. So our proposed fees are consistent with regional trends and position Lane County within a reasonable and justifiable range compared to our peers. These adjustments support a portion of cost recovery while maintaining fairness and transparency for applicants. So in summary, the proposed fee updates reflect current workload demands, and they align with other Oregon counties and ensure that a portion of our services that benefit 85 taxing districts are funded. So thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, to the board.
I'll just say that was downright humorous. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, well, if we have no questions.
All right, I'll move approval of Order 26-06-09-04. Excuse me. In the matter of increasing and amending fees for services for assessment and taxation effective July 1st, 2026.
Second.
We have a motion made by Vice Chair to approve Order 26-06-09-04 in the matter of increasing and amending fees for services for assessment and taxation effective July 1st, 2026. Seconded by Commissioner Lovell. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify with an aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Next up, we have Health and Human Services. We have Jessica coming up here. We must have an extensive slideshow, Ms. Gibb. I see Carla, Kachina, and Mike all coming to the table. Now, when you sing your solo, Commissioner Farr?
That again? Yeah, I can. Yeah, I'm tone deaf though. So.
Good morning, Chair Senega, Vice Chair Buck, and Commissioners. We are excited to be here today to provide some updates for our treatment center in Florence. And I am accompanied by two wonderful staff members, Carla Ayers, who is a supervisor with Lane County Treatment Center, and Mike Penwell, who you may remember, who has come back to help us on this project, and we're grateful for his expertise. So I'm going to turn it over to Carla to kick off the presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kachina. Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today and provide an update on our Florence project. We're excited to share the progress we've made and the continued partnership supporting this work. Before I begin, I wanted to extend a thank you to Commissioner Senega for attending the recent City Council meeting. Your engagement, support, and your help in securing additional time for our presentation was greatly valuable. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Before we continue, I'd like to recognize and introduce John McLevine, who is our State Opioid Treatment Authority. John has been an invaluable advocate, resource, and guide throughout our efforts to navigate this process. His expertise, responsiveness, and commitment to supporting communities across Oregon have been instrumental in helping us move forward. Okay. So to begin, I want to provide a brief overview of the Florence project and why it remains such an important priority. Our goal is to expand behavioral health services on the coast, improve access to treatment, and reduce longstanding barriers for Western Lane County residents. Over the past several months, we've made substantial progress in planning, community outreach, and coordination with local partners, and we're pleased to share that with you today. Florence was selected for this project for several key reasons. First, Western Lane County has faced limited local access to behavioral health and treatment services for many years. The distance to Eugene creates significant challenges for residents seeking consistent care. Second, Florence is a central hub on the coast, making it an ideal location for increasing access region-wide. And finally, the large number of Florence residents who've tried to access treatment and who have been unsuccessful because of the drive. As we look more closely at the need, there remains a significant treatment access gap on the coast. Many residents have been traveling to Eugene every single day for services, a burden that impacts stability, retention, and overall health. Improving access in Florence means better engagement in care, reduced overdose risk, and stronger support for individuals on their journey to recovery. This work aligns directly with Lane County's mission to remove barriers and expand equitable access to behavioral health care. Recognizing the need was the first step, but it was equally important for us to listen closely to community voices. Early in the process, we heard concerns about medication-assisted treatment and how it works. We heard questions about safety and traffic, a strong desire for more transparency and more opportunities to engage. These conversations shaped our approach moving forward and underscored the importance of building trust and providing clear, accurate information. In response, we strengthened our outreach and communication strategies. With those concerns in mind, we focused on consistent, meaningful engagement. We began participating in regular community meetings and stakeholder groups. We met with local leaders, organizations, and nearby neighbors to share information and gather input. We offered presentations, tours, and open discussions to promote transparency. We collaborated closely with community partners to address questions and clarify misinformation. And we initiated good neighbor agreements with nearby stakeholders to support long-term cooperation and shared expectations. Initially, there were very large concerns about the school across the street, which you are aware of. And we have worked closely with the school to create a good neighbor agreement, and we have addressed their concerns. To complement our in-person engagement, we expanded communication tools to ensure easy access to information. We launched a dedicated project webpage that includes updates and resources. We created an online forum where community members can submit questions and feedback at any time. We developed a video walkthrough and educational materials to help explain treatment services clearly. And we continue to provide updates through presentations, media interviews, and community meetings. And throughout all of this, our commitment to transparency remains central to our development approach. That's Mike's turn. As we close our portion of the update, I want to reaffirm the values guiding this project. Transparency, safety, collaboration remain at the heart of our work. We are committed to maintaining ongoing opportunities for community input, and at the core of this project is a clear goal: to provide safe, accessible, evidence-based treatment services for residents of Western Lane County. With that, I will turn it over to Mike Penwell, our project manager, who will walk you through the project management updates, including building progress, design details, and the next steps in the development timeline. Mike.
Good morning. Nice to see you all again. It's been a while. Commissioner Lovell for the first time. Nice to be here. I just wanted to go quickly over the process for acquiring the building, the design update, and next steps. There's been a few misunderstandings around, the process and how we ended up where we are, so I just wanted to give you that information. It started with meeting with the City of Florence planning manager to understand the planning and zoning rules in Florence and where a drug treatment facility could be located. There is no special designation for a treatment center within Florence, and so it falls under the medical clinic category. And there are 3 areas where, well, let me first of all say, the Florence zoning map is so simple compared to Eugene, Springfield. And so it was a pleasure to go work someplace where it's clear, black and white. And so so a medical clinic, which is what opioid treatment center falls under, is allowed in 3 specific areas. The purple area is around where the hospital currently is, and then a narrow band of commercial on either side of 101, basically from 126 to the southern edge of the Fred Meyer property. And so very narrow strip of what looks sort of brown and dark maroon there, and then that purple down in the lower left. So in a small city that has fairly limited commercial properties to begin with, narrowing it down to that narrow band made it even more challenging. And so when we began to work with Campbell Commercial Real Estate, who's by far the most active commercial broker in the area, the pickings were very slim. Looked at things like a veterinary office building, but it was limited on parking. It had a second floor that was not accessible by an elevator, so it had some real challenges. Looked at the old Rite Aid drugstore, but it was way too big, way too much volume. Would have been very expensive to both acquire and remodel. There were various commercial properties that were in rough shape. They were more like sort of shop buildings and that sort of thing. One really interesting one had kind of an open commercial space on the lower floor and a residence on the second floor. So I was kind of scratching my head about what we do with that, maybe some extra income, I don't know. But again, it was a challenging to look at. And so I asked Campbell, and we had already done the lease versus own analysis, which I presented to you guys probably 18 months ago now. And so the numbers were much better for ownership, but I said, let's look at leasing and see what our options are. And so right off the bat, one of the best properties was the old Best Med Clinic, which is on the, just south of Fred Meyer and just north of Bi-Mart along 101. And so we went to look at it, and let's go to the next page. Tax lot 101 up there, right below that big sandy area, is the building in question here. Fred Meyer's the big white roof in the upper left, and Bi-Mart's the gray roof down in the bottom there. So the building we were looking at, as I said, was the former Best Med Clinic, and it was really in great shape for our purposes. Let's take a look at the inside. Here's the outside of the building. It's 7,200 square foot building. The state workers comp board is in the west end of it at about 1,500 square feet, and the rest of it was a little more space than we needed. But in my mind, having worked on a number of these projects, if once we're there, over time, I know that other things are going to want to be added. So having a little extra space is nice. Plus, there was some extra property so that even another facility could be built on the property. But the problem was it was for lease. So I asked Campbell, would you inquire with the owner if it's for sale? And took about a week to come back, and the answer was yes. And the offered price at $1.8 million was very good. We analyzed the purchase price both on the basis of comps and on return on investment analysis. And it was a very competitive price in both ways of looking at it. So we started. We put in a offer on it, which you guys authorized us to do. And when it was accepted, and we went into the 4-month due diligence period and carefully analyzed the building. Let's go inside. Again, just looking at the front. So on the inside, nice lobby as you enter. Obviously, exam rooms and so on were already set up and ready to go. Casework's in good shape. Next one. Let's go back. Sorry.
No worries.
We had one more picture. During the due diligence period, we had Chambers Construction come take a look at it and assess the building. It was in great shape except for the roof and gutters. Mechanical system needs a little work, but we're going to adjust that anyway with part of the design work. And then I had our facilities manager come out and take a look at it, and he said, "This is a great building. Buy it. It's better than most of our buildings. I wish all our buildings looked this good." So, so everything checked out. We made a counter offer to reflect the cost of roof and gutters, and so acquired it for $1.7 million. And so we're off and running now. We've hired an architect who does a lot of work on up and down the I-5 corridor on medical and dental facilities, and helping us put that together. We finished the schematic design phase, so we've been able to reuse a lot of the spaces, especially around the perimeter, and just remodel the interior for the pharmacy. That's very carefully controlled because of controlled substances on site, the dosing rooms and that sort of thing. We're able to accommodate our tenant, the workers' comp folks on the west end. We'll adjust the entry a little bit so they have their own private entrance. We have ours. That'll be a nice source of income in the next several years while they're under lease, and then that will be future expansion space as well. And so the next step then is to finish up the design development portion, where we sort of flesh out all the details for a good cost estimate, know where we stand. Then we'll move into working drawings and bidding next fall sometime. And so I expect mid to late fall we'll be back to you with requests for a contract with the winning bidder. In the meantime, we'll do some promotional work in Florence so that contractors and subcontractors there have the opportunity to participate as well and to know about the project. It'll be publicly bid, so we can't hand work to anybody in Florence, but we want to encourage them to participate and put their bids in and so on. I figure it'll be roughly a 4-month construction process, and just with the time that these things take, with the public bidding and putting the contract and all the things that have to go into it, the DEA giving final approval, which can be a 2 or 3 month process sometimes. We expect to be in the building sometime around this time next year, and are looking forward to it. So it's a great facility. It'll serve us really well in the short term and in the long term. And some of you know I've got over 30 years of experience in facilities project management, and I got to say this is one of the best buildings that I've ever been part of acquiring and renovating. And so I'm really glad I came out of retirement to do this.
We are too.
It's gratifying, and I'm enjoying doing it. So I think that's it, unless you have any?
I have a few,
Okay, great.
one additional slide. I just want to take a second to go back to the why. This is such a critical piece of our work. And today, as we talk about public safety, this is one of the ways that Health and Human Services contributes to public safety. Treatment saves lives. Treatment connects people to hope. And that creates a community of health and wellness. So we are so excited to be more present in our rural communities. As you know, we opened our South Lane Clinic recently, and now to be in Western Lane is so wonderful, and it has created immense connection and collaboration and partnership that will take us far, and I want to spend a little bit of time talking about that. Also, just reflecting last Monday at the City Council meeting in Florence, one of our amazing staff members shared his story, and I just want to remind us to go back to the why. And when people share their stories of how treatment has saved their lives, and then they save other people's lives, it just brings it all home. So I just wanted to take a second to draw us back to why we're doing this really important work. Being in Florence with Carla has been a really wonderful experience. I was also able to help with our Eugene opening when we transitioned from Charlton to our West 11th site. So it's been fun to jump back into this world a little bit more. Those relationships have allowed us to really start some additional work in Florence. So I just want to lift up 2 quick examples. We're spending some time in the emergency management space, of course, with our emergency management team. In Health and Human Services, we support emergency support functions 6 and 8, so that's medical care and mass care, and it's critical that we're spending time in Florence, and so these relationships have allowed us to start some of our deeper planning in Florence. So that has kicked off. I also want to talk about the Rural Health Transformation Grant briefly. I brought this up during budget, but this is some dollars that are coming down through public health, very, very specific dollars, and this is allowing us to invest more work in our community. So we haven't gotten final approval from the state, but we're hopeful that we'll be able to fund a community health worker coordinator at Mapleton School District who's going to enhance their community health their community center there and allow more access points for the Mapleton Deadwood community. And then we also have a half-time community health worker we're hoping to fund at Siuslaw Outreach Services. And then lastly, we are looking at a systems mapping project with LCOG. We're working closely with them, and guess where we're looking to start? Florence. It is just a wonderful community, and those deep collaborations have just allowed us to go deeper and farther, so I'm quite excited about that. I also want to lift up that, as you know, in Health and Human Services and lots of spaces, probably all spaces in our county right now, expansion is not something we're able to do. That's not a word we get to use very often. This is one of the only spaces in which we are able to do that. And thank you so much to the state for being our team and helping us do that. I also want to call out, there is a little extra space in that building, which is really remarkable. We have teams traveling to Florence every day. Our family child health team that's during nurse home visiting. We have our developmental disability services teams out in Florence. They meet people in their homes and sometimes other community spaces, but having an office where they can meet people will reduce barriers. So we're hopeful that we'll be able to create a little bit of space for our staff to be even more present in Florence. And with that, I would like to open it up to questions. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Great presentation. And I just sitting here thinking, I'm going a couple months back, Mike. I don't know if you were glad to be out of retirement then, but we've made it over the crest. So I appreciate all the hard work, and I'll brag a little bit later about the Kachina and Carl and how hard they've worked, but just be prepared to the board. Commissioner Farr.
Thank you. And Mike, thank you for coming back, and welcome for bringing your expertise, all those years of expertise to bear on this particular project. And I can't go forward without saying thank you also to Carla for literally taking me by the hand more than 12 years ago, 13 years ago when you were behavioral health manager, and really opening my eyes to some of the issues that you are very adequately dealing with today, just now beginning to address some things. And Mr. McLeveen, thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for the stated help that you've provided throughout this project. I'll not say much about it. Commissioner Senega has been more closely involved with the project itself, but a question regarding tribal presence. Are we, I'm presuming this facility is in coordination in some way with the tribes, or will be providing services to the tribes?
Absolutely. Yes.
The reason I ask that is for the last, up until this year, for 13 years, I was the Mental Health Advisory Local Drug and Alcohol Policy Liaison from the board. And every meeting, it seems that now Chief Barrett would be there saying, bring services over the hill, bring services over the hill.
Yes.
Well, here we are, over the hill, with some very extended, in-depth and specific services. Well done, listening to the chief and listening to the needs of the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, and just to state, Chief Barrett is 100% in on this project. He's very excited for it. Commissioner Trigger.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I want to just say hi, John. He and I usually see each other in the little Hollywood squares every month. We serve together on the state opioid settlement prevention, treatment, and recovery board, so it's great to actually be in a real 3D room with you. And thank you for all your work and support of the work statewide, but particularly this project. Our board, in part, some of the state portion of the settlement funds have gone to support this project. So that's been great to be part of. I think, you know, this is just an update. Everybody here knows my full-throated support for these kinds of facilities and more. And I just want to point out and reflect, you know, the agenda memo refers to the property as being, quote, formally a medical facility. It will still be a medical facility. Yeah. This is medicine. Treatment is medicine, in addition to the other services that we're talking about bringing in. But I just really want to point that out. And my pen just decided to do something weird. I think, you know, as I understand it, I mean, we always want to work directly with community and have community be informed and be our partners. And it's a tremendous opportunity when we bring new services into a community to help raise awareness about who is seeking services and the way those services change lives and why they matter, and how they probably know someone, they just don't realize it, who needs the services. But we often get put in this almost adversarial position with community because of some really, in my opinion, outdated state laws and restrictions around where we locate, particularly opioid treatment centers. And so I'm really looking forward to us working to knock down some of those barriers. They are quite outdated. And they really just serve to perpetuate stigma and provide a tool for NIMBY folks to get in the way and slow a project down. And we don't have time to waste on a project like this. My only regret is that we're where we are on the timeline and not that we're doing it. And I think this notion that opioid treatment centers shouldn't be located within a certain distance of a school, it ignores the realities of what children are exposed to. I mean, children walk through grocery stores with their parents, and there's aisles and aisles of alcohol, to say nothing of billboards and online advertisements. I mean, the best way to combat the concerns neighbors might have about a facility like this is to get the doors open and start operating it and have them see that what a non-issue it is, or if anything, an improvement it is in terms of who they've been noticing in their community that's going without services that now has a place to receive them. So I am thrilled with the update. My only in the plus column, not only in the negative column, is can we go any faster? And is that we weren't able to get to this point a little sooner. So thank you for all your work, all the miles you're putting on, Kachina and team, driving back and forth, and very exciting to think that we would have a home base over there for some of those other important and connected services too. That's a great add-on that we didn't anticipate when we first started to explore this option. So thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Lovell.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, Over the Hill is great. I think of that because my son just turned 40 on Friday, but this is a different space and time we're thinking about. But getting services to Florence is a hugely important endeavor, and I would second what Commissioner Trieger said. I wish we could do it faster, and I know, Mike, in some of your development experiences, you have done it faster. But I think the thing I wanted to bring forth at this particular juncture is, you're in the right time in the right place when everything comes together. And for you to describe what you were looking for, I mean, all of the variables that you had to work with, the zone, the building, the build out, the tenant improvements, what you had to start with, I mean, this is a developer's dream right here, if I could say that. So you guys are all of you are in the right time in the right place to do something extraordinary. And so I agree with everyone here. Let's do it a little faster and make it even more extraordinary. So good work all.
Sure.
I'll just be short. I appreciate adding healthcare access in our rural communities, knowing that we did this in a big way in Cottage Grove with a new clinic. It's the right thing to do. People need it. And if you look at the last MAC clinic that we put in, it very much looks from the outside like an office building. There's no other real obvious sign of what people are necessarily doing there. So I think people will be pleasantly surprised once it's up and operating.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that, when I would get questioned, that's what I would say is, looks like a chiropractic clinic. I mean, people are coming and going. And but I appreciate Commissioner Trieger, but one of the notes I wrote down was I actually really appreciated and admired Kachina and Carla, their drive and their push, but you were able to slow it down just enough to get everybody on board. Because, I mean, we met a force. And, I think if we would have kept driving like we wanted to, because that's what we do out of passion, I don't think it would have been perceived as well as it is in Florence now. Your guys' work and dedication has turned it from being nervous to go over there, and I think we all felt that at times. I mean, there was that much animosity for a bit, to a positive project. To say that Florence is close-knit is an understatement. It's an extremely unique community, and I love being over there. And I mean, for example, I'm still hearing about the presentation at the Rotary. And that's why it's easy to get more time in front of the city council, right? Like, no, this testimony is changing people's lives. So I think we can do half an hour. But that's a lot easier to do when you have great staff. So I just want to tell you guys thanks for all the hard work, and it's gone beyond a 180 from where we started. And so, a lot of that was just reading the room and knowing, trusting your gut, and keeping the project moving. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Good work.
Yes.
Come on.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Mokrahysky, I think we're at county administrator announcements.
Yes, sir. I just have a few things here. Very pleased. Jason Harris, our Community and Economic Development Manager, is not with us right now. He was down here earlier. Just want to recognize his great work and share with commissioners our excitement to announce the creation of a robust set of resource materials for Lane County's businesses for wildfire and disaster preparedness. You all were given a copy of this document. I was thinking I should put this in front of my face here. A really great resource for our businesses, a step-by-step wildfire preparedness business checklist. So we do this for residents, but this is a resource available catered specifically to the things that businesses should be thinking about as they prepare for wildfire needs. As we know, wildfire is a risk to everyone, and businesses throughout the region, rural, urban, and otherwise, face a very real risk of business interruptions, damage, and loss if fire breaks out. Our region is also susceptible to other natural disasters as well. Certainly, I know Commissioner Buck and the 2020 wildfires and the work that happened in the aftermath of that, in the immediate aftermath and responding to the needs of the community, setting up mass evacuation and sheltering capabilities for animals and people and triaging, all of that work, we saw firsthand the impacts to residents and businesses as a result of major wildfire disaster. So Lane County wants our businesses to be as prepared as possible. The Community and Economic Development Program under Jason Harris's leadership has established, and it's on our website at lanecountyor.gov. We have a variety of documents that can be downloaded. We have this card. So we have this document, which we're going to produce this and hand it out to businesses. But we also have this card. You can scan the QR code, and it sends you to a checklist that businesses can use. We have additional links at our website for emergency preparedness resources. Those guides have been printed and will be distributed to our city partners and our chamber partners and other business stakeholders. We've initiated a public information campaign that has already been picked up on radio and television news outlets to help spread the information. Wildfire Preparedness Guide is a checklist for businesses to make to their property, for their staff, and their livestock. The Disaster Preparedness Guide provides instructions on how to document business records, work with insurance agents, understand OSHA's permanent smoke rules, and how this might impact your staff and operations, and make emergency plans for yourself, your staff, your impacted livestock. And businesses that plan and prepare for natural disasters are likely to recover more quickly if impacted and have greater resiliency and faster recovery time. So I want to thank our team again for this. Just encourage any businesses, if you have questions, go to our website, lanecountyor.gov. You can find on the Lane County's Community and Economic Development page, all of these documents, and a really good resource for our business communities. To me, also a reminder of the support and resource that we provide to our business community, particularly our small businesses in Lane County. We oftentimes say, I like to talk about how, the role of government is not necessarily to create business activity, but it is to provide the environment in which businesses can thrive and be supported. And so here's an example of emergency preparedness and resiliency after an emergency. Happy to answer any questions about that. A quick elections update for you all. Reminder that to voters that the deadline to cure a challenge ballot is today, January 9th. The elections office will be open until 5 p.m. today for that purpose. As of noon yesterday, there were 995 challenge ballots. That's under 1%, about 0.783%, with 155 ballots missing, a signature, 746 signature discrepancies. A total of, I think we shared this already, a total of 127,157 ballots have been returned. That's a 44.6% return. Our staff is working to prepare the remaining eligible ballots for counting early, so the final results will be updated and posted by 5 p.m. on Wednesday, June 10th, and the election will be certified in the following days. The last thing I'll share with you is just a note for commissioners to think about, and let me know if you don't have a response right now. The NACO, National Association of Counties Annual Conference, is coming up in July. It's July 17th to 20th in New Orleans. We have Lane County as each representative member of the National Association for Counties has voting delegates. We have 6 votes. Typically, if a member of the board or staff member attends, you will have those 6 votes to vote for on various policy issues as well as for the leadership of NACO. So just want to get a sense of if there are any commissioners planning on attending to cast those 6 votes. The voting delegates need to be designated by 3 p.m. on July 19th. So let us know. If no one is in attendance, then we can designate, and we have historically designated to the Association of Oregon Counties for AOC to be our proxy. And then if you would like, we can give you time to think about that, and if you want to revisit it on June 23rd, we can follow up with a board order on that. So you don't have to answer that today, but just wanted to provide it with you. That's everything. We'll have more to say tomorrow. We have our work session tomorrow morning on the Public Safety Funding Task Force focused on comments and clarification and make sure we correct the record on some of the facts related to what the Public Safety Funding Task Force actually did talk about and recommend related to transient lodging tax. Facts are important. That's all.
Okay, and who doesn't want to go to Louisiana?
Right. In July, though.
Right. The third week of July.
Yeah, right. It's like, New Orleans, yay, July.
Oh, that's exactly what I did. Vice Chair.
Thank you. I just wanted to appreciate whoever put the packet together for the business resources for wildfire fighting or wildfire affected communities, because I really hope that businesses take it seriously. As we know, in the aftermath of the Holiday Farm Fire, the resources available for affected businesses are much, much less than what they are available to affected residents. And in most cases, it's limited to a loan, just loan options. So there's no equity, no individual payment like there is for affected residents in the case of a devastating wildfire. So I appreciate having that resource and just getting the word out as to how serious it can be if a business is affected and in the unfortunate case if it burns to the ground. The options are very limited to whatever their insurance coverage is, and even then may not be enough for them to build back. So give my appreciation to whomever put those together, and I'll definitely be sharing them.
Yeah, will do. And just, this is a really straightforward, it's 5.5 pages, I think, very straightforward, 12-step, easy to digest and really check, did I do this, did I do that, kind of thing. So really good resource.
Okay, excellent. We've got some time. We can do commissioner business. Any commissioners having announcements?
Never know what's an announcement and what's a comment. Well,
Dealer's choice.
Can I just?
Yeah, so let's do it.
I had the pleasure of going Friday evening to the celebration of the completion of Civic Park. This is the Kids Sports and Civic Alliance facility that now is developed where the Civic Stadium once stood. And it was just a remarkable opportunity to be in community and celebrate something good, to see a reimagined local landmark. But it was really, in particular, a wonderful display of what happens when the partners who recognize the importance of these kind of facilities really work together, understand each other's needs, take the time they need to scale a development, to do it in phases in a way that really leads not only to success, but success where all the partners are rowing in the same direction, sharing the same information, feeling good about what everybody's trying to do. And now we have this remarkable facility. We have indoor space. That was the first phase, of course, where Kids Sports has their indoor practice and tournament space that we need more of for all kinds of ball and net sports. And then a beautiful soccer stadium where we're trying to getting closer and closer to bringing professional level soccer to our local community. And now with the completion of the grandstands and the clubhouse, the entire Civic Park complex is completed. And it was just, again, a wonderful community event with local supporters and elected officials, and of course the inimitable Bev Smith and this incredible legacy project she has created for all of us was there. It was a really nice informal event, but there was a beautiful little video, which I presume is on their website. I hope so. If it is, I encourage everybody to go watch it. It's just about a 10-minute, tells the story of Civic Park and the Civic Alliance. So that was just a great feel-good moment. It was great to be there and represent my district and also Lane County and support such a great project. Thank you, Chair.
I just went by there the other day. I saw their Civic Park sign. I thought that was pretty cool to name it after the old stadium. Anybody else? Vice Chair.
One thing that I did not add in the prior comment, but is related, is the Forest Service, at least in the South Cascades, has declared it fire season as of Monday. So just a reminder to everybody who lives in the wildland urban interface, make sure you have go bags ready for the summer. Even if you live in urban areas, it's not a bad idea to have your go bags ready. You just never know what's going to happen or when a fire is going to break out. So be prepared. Look at your preparedness worksheets. If you don't have them, our emergency management team has them available. There are also quick, easy guides for residents to ensure that they have everything they need in case a wildfire hits or a disaster of any kind hits their home. And if you see anything out there that even looks like a potential fire, call it in as soon as possible.
Yeah. Okay, do we have any?
Chair?
Oh,
My
I'm
thumb
sorry.
meant yes.
Oh, thumb was good. I thought you meant you were good. Commissioner Farr.
Just a couple of things. I wanted to point out something that Mary Vucic-Schaefer said, and I thought it was great. She said, it's ironic that levity will be provided by the tax assessor. I smiled about that, and it was absolutely correct. And it pointed out, Mr. Mokryski, that a lot of the business that we do, particularly in public, takes on a note of sobriety, somber, and a lot of the things we talk about and the comments that we hear about are particularly sobering in nature. That's not the work we do generally. Most of the work we do is really uplifting. We have park, we have rivers, we have beaches. You know, Lane County is a wonderful place to live, work, and play, and we provide that. I wanted to point out that this week is the last week for public grade school. Graduations were last Friday. Some of us went to graduations. I think some of us maybe handed out diplomas, Commissioner. And that as we move into the summer, there's going to be a lot more kids on the streets doing things that they would normally be in schools. We, in our family, have a first, a second, and a fourth grader finishing school this week at Meadowview and at Edison Elementary Schools. I'm pretty excited about the summer, but always, you know, it's not my job to caution everybody to look out for kids, but particularly in streets where kids are apt to wander and people drive around quite often with one of these in their hands looking at this instead of looking at the road. So just a reminder that kids are on the roads. Yesterday, I spent most of the morning at Sheldon High School, Mr. Mokryski, someplace that's soon to be very familiar to you, I understand. I was there with the International High School government program, and they made their presentations yesterday. Now, last week, the week before, I'd been at Willamette High School, where the seniors made wonderful presentations where they have fold-out cards and they make a problem, policy, and solution presentation regarding government affairs, generally speaking. With Willamette High School, it was seniors. With Sheldon High School yesterday, I couldn't believe it. It was sophomores. I had no clue they were sophomores. These are kids who are really identifying issues, identifying problems, and really viable solutions. And the research that goes into it, these are 15-year-old, 16-year-old kids who really have dug into, and I would offer any one of them a job based upon the research that they've done. But significantly, Mr. Mokrajski, I wanted to point out that more than 3/4 of the presentations yesterday were surrounding mental health. Now, some of them were regarding housing and homelessness. Some of them were regarding gun violence in schools. But everything surrounded mental health, and it really underlined the fact that we all are, every one of us, as stated, that mental health is one of our main priorities. And mental behavioral health, and we had the presentation this morning from Carla Ayers, who has been one of my mentors regarding mental health. It's important that we maintain that focus because kids are thinking about it. It's recognizable to everybody that that really is one of the single greatest contributors to many of the issues that we deal with in our community. Thanks.
Okay, no one else. I'll just say, yeah, quick thanks to, like, we kind of hit on it a little bit, but the support that we've had from Florence on opening up this treatment center, you know, we hit on Chief Barrett. He's been a full supporter from the get-go, which means a lot. Mayor Ward, he came down and did a tour of our clinic here, and you know, that clinic has ran so well that when he got back, you know, all he could do was just brag about it nonstop. So, you know, and Erin Reynolds, she's always so great to work with, and she's been a huge supporter. So, just wanted to take a second to thank them. And yeah, talking about graduation, I was being on the school board for Junction City. I got asked to hand out diplomas, and the commencement speaker was my second grade teacher, and she's retiring. She was Miss Erickson then, and now she's Miss Smith. So it was really fun. It was a fun day. Okay, so do we have any committee reports, future board assignment requests? Commissioner Trigger.
Thank you. I'll just say the Human Services Commission meets from noon to 1 this coming Monday, and because we've been talking about mental health and treatment access, you know, of course, the big looming questions about how the impacts of restrictions and contractions and limitations from the federal level are going to play out here when it comes to healthcare delivery. Human Services Commission, the bulk of our agenda Monday, I might be talking out of, yeah, it will be this coming Monday, is going to be representatives from Trillium. As we know, we are down to one coordinated care organization, and they are who hold the health insurance for the majority of our Medicaid folks that we serve in Lane County. And so this will be an opportunity to talk about the intersection between healthcare, behavioral healthcare delivery, and our human services work across the county. So it should be a really great meeting. It's going to take up close to half of our 1-hour meeting. So if people want to learn more about sort of what's happening with the CCO transition, Trillium's plans, who they're serving, and really where some of the gaps are, particularly as Kachina mentioned in the rural health transformation and work with community health workers and traditional health workers, I think that'll be a lot of the topic of what gets discussed at the HSC this coming Monday with our Trillium partners.
Excellent. Okay, Commissioner Farr.
Two committees that I'll mention. On Thursday this week, the Lane County DUII Victim Impact Panel meets. We meet monthly. Sometimes we skip a month, but very interesting work. Predominantly it's the public safety people who are members of the committee, but I am your liaison to that committee. And then one of the coolest committees that we have meets on Friday at 7:30 a.m. That's Metropolitan Wastewater Management Committee. So many cool things happen there, you know, and people want to talk about wastewater. Oh, wait, no, they don't, ever, unless the toilet's not flushing. But significantly, one of the things that we're talking about right now, and Lane County is getting more deeply involved, and that is extension of sewer service beyond the current metropolitan area, Metropolitan Wastewater Management Commission area. Extension potentially to Cresswell and potentially to Junction City. That's an ongoing topic, and Lane County, Mr. Mokrajski, is getting more and more involved all the time in that discussion. So if you have nothing else to do at 7:30 in the morning, tune in because it is scintillating.
Okay, well, if that's it, we will be back here at 1:30 and we will be recessed.